Okay, this is a real jet for the G6 Max. I'm also having to hang on, where are we going over there? Go over there. Having to avoid people running up and down a mountain. It's hard enough running on flat things, it's hard enough walking up the hill. And I've got to try and make my way up a mountain path. Well, it's not a mountain really, it's kind of a big hill. And see how the stability works. Typically it's windy. It's quite difficult vlogging when there's people around, to be honest. Especially when you're new to it. They keep coming past and looking at you, making you think, what am I doing? What are you doing? Why are you talking to a camera? Anyway, getting back to the point. We've got the M50 sitting on the G6 Max. We're in default. In fact, I'm going to change the mode. It was an HF. It's now in AF. So I've pretty much locked. It's going to try and stay with me. It's so busy today. I guess it's because the lockdown restrictions have been lifted quite substantially that a lot of people are coming out. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about was I've been looking at getting a camera that can do 4K. Because the M50 is a great camera, it's super light, but for vlogging it can only do 1080p. Now in an ideal world I'd buy an XT4. It has everything I need, including stabilisation. I'd also include the Olympus OM1 Mark II and, as I saw pans here, just move that, the what else I got? Oh yes, the Olympus OMD M5 Mark III, which is a nice camera. In fact, I would still consider that for the stabilisation and some night photography. Micro Four Thirds though, I think the problem with it is the lenses are so expensive. Canon, I could get an M6 and get those lovely Viltrox vlogging lenses because they're on the kit lens here. But the problem with that is that the M6 Mark II is quite soft in 4K. It's a good camera, but I'm kind of invested in Fuji then. I got an email from Amazon. In fact, actually I think it's reduced everywhere, but one of the cameras I looked at as a stopgap because I want something cheap and not too expensive. I mean, I would happily vlog with an XT4, and one day I will have one of those. I want to save up for one. On my XT30 at that moment. But the problem with that is you've kind of got a £1,500 camera on the end of a stick, which is a bit of a problem. It's like, oh, the gimbal struggling in wind, gimbal struggling in wind. And with the flippy out panel, it's quite windy up here. You can probably hear because the dead cat's going to struggle on this little mic. It blew the camera. Oh, so I'm going to continue on my little walk up here anyway. So the XA7, as I was talking about, it was reduced to £490. So I thought, hang on, that's kind of affordable. I've got my a lot of my old Canon lenses kind of up for sale. So why don't we get those sold, and in the meantime I'll get the lens on. I have this habit of looking at the flippy screen. You should be looking at the lens because I'm kind of looking sideways. Get used to it. Oh, it's got a bit rocky up here, as you'll probably see from behind me. I'm trying to do a wide shot. That's kind of the view from behind. Quite yeah, probably could do with a lav mic or the Rode the World Wireless Go would be really nice. But the difference is, once the XA7 arrives, I'll be able to give it a test out on the G6, on the gimbal, and we'll be able to see how it performs. It's actually lighter than the M50. Hang on, come back. Oh, it's gone to HF mode. No wonder it's all over the place. 3 clicks. Okay, we're locked. All axes locked. No wonder it was wobbling around all over the place. HF mode doesn't, it's the standard default mode, you can vlog in it. With a bit of difficulty. Anyway, we're jumping from rock to rock at the minute because there's loads of rocks. So, climbing up a hill is definitely a good test. Oh, there's a path now. Right, we're on a path. We can make speed. Oh. Right. I think there's a plateau I wanted to reach here. I'm not going right to the top, but there's a plateau I wanted to get to here. And we'll talk a bit more about cameras and the gimbal, because the XA7, as the M50, doesn't have stabilisation. Anyway, catch you in a few minutes when we get to the top. Haha, I'm back. Well, I found a bit that sheltered from the wind. Ow, that was spiky. This is relatively sheltered, she says, with her hair all over the place. Yeah, I've got a lot of hair left. Right, yeah, this is relatively sheltered from the wind and people. So I can see the car park from here. It's about half a mile away now. We've got amazing views. I'll pan the camera around so you can have a look. Back to me. So we're back in the HF mode, which is probably more suited to, you can see I'm just moving the camera, the gimbal a little, and it keeps it level because it's not locking all the axes. But when you're walking, it's probably easier to lock all the axes, otherwise the gimbal tends to wander a bit. Oh, I want to be that way. Still getting used to the buttons. There we go. I can see how a wider lens would work for vlogging. I mean, I can sort of lift this up and give you a bit of a view of what we've got. But I'm just happy I found this sheltered bit. So we were talking a little bit about different cameras for vlogging. The fact that I'm going to do this handheld. I'm also going to do... God, that's overexposed a little bit, isn't it? No, it's not too bad. I've got it on quite a neutral profile. I have to wear glasses though, because my eyes have become very sensitive to light lately. And when I don't have glasses on, I have to squint loads, which is a bit ungainly. Makes your eyes look just scrunched up and horrible. Anyway, back to the cameras. So the M50 is great for 1080p, but I think with a lens on and a little mic, you're coming out saying it's weighing probably about 450 grams, 500 grams. The XA7, although I'd probably use it with the Fuji 18-55 kit, which is the f2.8 to f4, which is a brilliant kit lens and actually wide enough for vlogging. It's 18mm. This is 15. It would be, you know, be like this, or I could hold it a lot further away because we've got this lens is wide open at 15mm at the minute. But this is just the SGM kit lens on the M50. So if you're just starting out vlogging, and honestly, I'd watched so many videos on getting stabilised cameras, and in the end, I just could not find a camera that had everything in it. It's just impossible to find a camera that ticks every single box what you want. There's always something, you know, it's too expensive, the lenses. So, for example, the EM5 Mark I, the Olympus, the Mark III, not the Mark I. The Mark III does it ticks every box apart from when you want to get a vlogging lens. How much do they cost? Have a guess how much they cost? Yeah, you bet the decent vlogging lenses, which are sort of fairly fast apertures, and you need that, on a Micro Four Thirds are about £1,000. Yeah, you can get kit lenses that are cheaper, but it kind of defeats the object. You can't vlog with them. I'm vlogging with a kit lens here, but even the kit lenses, the body only is about £800, and that's if you get it on a grey import. I did think I'd found a wind-free area, but it's not quite as wind-free as I thought. Relatively wind-free. Anyway, I'll go in off to take some pictures shortly, but I just thought I would tell you about the camera. So, we'll have to come out somewhere here, like here again, and I'll tell you what it's like to use the Fuji, because obviously I've got my different sets of lenses, and I want to standardise on Fuji anyway, because in the long run, probably the best vlogging camera you could probably get, if I had to choose, 1080p with a gimbal. Yeah, I'm looking at it. M50 is probably the best budget 1080p vlogging camera still. The digital stab is crap, but stick it on a 200 quid gimbal, and you're laughing. Problem solved, really. XA7, well, that remains to be tested, but I've taken a gamble. It's got good reviews. The autofocus is not supposed to be quite as good as the M50, so we shall see. I could always send it back if I don't like it, but I wanted the second Fuji body. I wanted to think it didn't have a viewfinder and had a big screen, because part of vlogging is about having a good screen. And of course the XA7 has this 3.5 inch screen that's 2.7 million pixels. Now the M50 screen here is 1 million pixels and it's 3.3 inch. So it's usable, but it's also not that bright. Doesn't help, of course, when I have glasses on. But I tend to have to vlog with glasses because of... it hurts my eyes. Shall I take them off and see if I can manage? Sun's gone in. Oh. Do you know what I mean? Makes me scrunch my eyes up. Scrunchy eyes when I take my glasses off. I like to open my eyes up, but I can't. So, glasses back on, I'm afraid. Fortunately, eye auto detect doesn't exist on the M50, only in stills. So you're not going to have a problem there. The face detect in 1080p just doesn't miss a beat on this camera. It just, once it's got you, it's got you. So, from a budget option for vlogging, if you're going beyond a mobile phone or a mobile device, I think the M50, and we'll update this, I'll do another video on the XA7, M50 from 1080p is probably the camera to get. I'm slowly following this round because I've been twisting the gimbal and not holding. There we go, watch. See? There we go. Honestly, I'm still learning to use gimbals. Now I've got a nice view in the background. So it's just been lovely sitting up here and having a nice time. Anyway, I'm off to take some pictures. We'll talk some more on the way down about the cameras. And I'll speak to you all shortly. Catch you in a bit. Okay, so I've got a few shots. It's time to make our way back down. I'm going to do it. I've got the gimbal back on HF mode. It's just got it positioned. And I'm going to see if it kind of stays with me. And as I balance my way back down, it stay with me, gimbal. One thing that the G6 Max does come with actually is a little extension. So you can turn it into a little tiny tripod. And it's quite handy as a bit of an extra grip. So you can get the distance to you. So I mean, this is full arm's length, so you can really get quite a bit of the scenery in. So this is a smooth path. This is me about to traverse. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to swing the gimbal round. That is what I've got to walk over. So remember, this is in HF mode. This is me behind the camera. Well, actually I'm above the camera. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a view of my journey down this hill. And you can tell me how stable this is. And then maybe if I get some nice weather, which is unusual in Northumberland. No, joking. I'll come back with the XA7 when that arrives. It comes on Tuesday. Shall we do an unboxing? Everyone does unboxings. You know you want to see one. They're so exciting. Because you think they're going to do something at the end of the unboxing. They are useful for when you're buying stuff. Hang on, I'm going to swap hands again. The amount of times I've swapped hands is unreal. The amount of times I've been distracted by a flippy out screen looking at it instead of looking at the lens is also a pain in the backside. Anyway, so God, we'll do an unboxing because the XA7, at least here in the UK, is not a camera that's it's not a camera that's been very popular. It's very popular abroad, but it's not popular in the UK, which surprised me. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is get some interesting shots with the gimbal in different modes, so bear with me a second. I shall speak to you in a minute. That was me just messing around with a bit of the gimbal modes. I even did a bit of inception there, which is puts the gimbal in a sort of straightforward one. You can follow along paths and it'll rotate 360 degrees. I'm still learning how to do it, so I'm probably not the ideal person to be trying this out, but there's only one way to learn how to do filmmaking, and that's to do it and to talk about your experiences, because one good thing about recording what I've done is we get to talk about all sorts of different things. So, as I say, it is a photography centric vlog, this. The idea being hopefully that people who watch will be able to get something from it. Hang on. Oh, there's loads of people here now. I'm glad I got here early. I got here at 9 o'clock. Midday now and I'm going home. Oh, hang on. Also, losing gimbal. That's not the gimbal that's unstable, that's me that's unstable. And I'm gonna adjust the gimbal. No, adjust the gimbal. Yeah, we need gimbals that get left and right reverse, because I'm terrible at left and right. I always get them mixed up. Anyway, how do you think it's been for stability? Remember, we've been playing with the G6 Max, the next camera you're going to see it on, which won't be quite as well at the minute. I tend to quick note about how I tend to try to film. So I've got an ND, a variable ND on this, so I can film at 124 frames a second. Set the camera to 1/50th, which allows me to use the 180 reel so that you should get some motion blur, depending on what the weather's like. Depends on how bright it is. So I don't have an ND filter that directly see, I'm falling off. It's a very rough path. I don't have an ND filter that directly fits onto the Fuji kit lens, which is the 15mm, which is ideal for vlogging. Well, I do with an adapter. I mean, it looks ridiculous. It's a 77mm filter with a step down ring, but it's an ND10. So if it's extremely bright, we should be okay. But if it's not, I'm going to have to pretty much crank up the shutter speed in order to keep this exposed correctly. Essentially, without an ND filter, you will struggle to do video unless you crank up a high shutter speed. It's not essential when vlogging, but it is more pleasing on the eye, especially when you're panning and sort of moving or falling, which is what I've been doing a lot of. Anyway, I'm pretty much back at the car, so I will see you all later. subscribe and click the bell for notifications. See you later.